Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Major Manufacturing HIT-45AR5. This is a pretty common aluminum template that's going to be used with the HIT-45 clamp system. And this template is going to allow you to prep for a standard 86 edge. An 8-inch tall, 1.25 wide plate preparation that you can then fit the mortise pocket into. The HIT-45 series of material is certainly intended, I believe, for aluminum storefront doors. Wood doors, you're probably going to be better off using the HIT-66 platform, but a lot of aluminum storefront work is very commonly done using the HIT-45. Now, this is just the template for that. Give you some basic dimensional properties of this template, of which there are several and many, and we'll go over that in a moment. About 9 7/8 tall, about about 2.25 wide. On the ID, you have an 1 3/8 there. Okay, and then you're going to have an 8 1/8 here as well. And that template opening is 1/8 of an inch larger than the size required, and that's because they're saying here's the router base guide that you need to use with the template, along with the diameter of the router bit, which we're going to go over in a moment. Elsewhere in the package, or what else is in the package, the other components, the Allen wrench and then the 2 set screws that will allow you to attach it to your HIT-45. Here is the HIT-45, obviously not included, but just here really as a prop to show you where it will install. Right, like that. Okay. Then all of this gets attached to the edge of your aluminum door. The other components that will be included, your pointer will show you the center line of where you're going to prep, and you'll be in really good shape there. So we'll put the HIT-45 away. There's your template. You've got your Allen wrench and your 2 screws. Also included will be the installation instructions, and we're going to go over that. Let's go over that now, and let's switch to the screen view to do so. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are indeed looking at, the HIT-45 AR5. Okay, and they call it AR for the Adams right there. Expecting you're going to use the 1850 SN SI lock for prepping this, but again, any mortise pocket that's the government 86 or the typical 8-inch by 1.25 inch, this is going to be used for. We have images down below this video showing that's the packaging. That's what's included. The template itself. A little closer up. Deep blue, deep anodized in a blue finish. And then your fastener package. The extended description, Faceplate Opening Template, routes the 8 by 1.25 faceplate, used on this and many other locks. Does require the HIT-45 clamp system, and there it is. And a router that's equipped with a 3/8 outside diameter guide and a 1/4 inch router bit for aluminum doors. We're going to go over that in a moment. For wood doors, use a 5/8 outside diameter guide and a 1/2 inch flat bottom router bit. I wouldn't consider this, well, I mean, if you're using this on a tool that will allow you to prep on a wood door, you'll change the requirements of what you're dealing with there. The concept on the aluminum is that a 1/4 inch diameter router bit is simply more appropriate for the material that you're cutting through. A single flute, actually, whereas a wood door, wood frame application, 2 flute carbide 1/2 inch would work out really well. Okay, that will be able to allow you to cut as you bottom into the preparation. Okay, so the only thing this isn't doing is telling you your depth that you're going to prep at. I would obviously set my, if I was doing a wood door, I would set my router at 7/32 depth, assuming that's what it requires, and then I would carefully ease the router into that and then go nice and slow and prep that entire faceplate. And all that you'll be left with will be radiused corners that you'll square out by hand with a hammer and chisel, or with a corner chisel, which we also sell those, and I can show you what a corner chisel looks like. If you don't own one, you'll definitely want to own one. That's a corner chisel. They work really splendidly. I've owned many of these over my years, and you know, you'll never do it with a hammer and chisel again. Okay, so let's take a look now. We have a product brochure. We'll go over that later. Let's go over the installation instructions that are included with this. The 3 pages. Stop. Read this. This is in red print because people, myself included, you might be really tempted to go about prepping something and not thinking about the relationship between the inside prep and the guide that you're putting on your router base. There's direct relationship there. And they go ahead and tell you that the aluminum door, they want a 3/8 OD with a 1/4 inch bit, wood 5/8 OD and a 1/2 inch bit. Now, pages 2 and 3 talk specifically about this, and this is literally what you're looking for on your on the base of your router. Depending on the model that you're dealing with, okay, it'll look like these. I'm far more familiar with when it threads together because I use and prefer Porter cable, only because, well, it doesn't matter the reasons why, but you know, this would be a typical for a Porter cable installation. Aluminum would have the 3/8 OD and the 1/4 inch ID. So if you recall, the templates were 1/8 of an inch larger in each dimension. That's because you're going to have 1/8 of an inch between the OD of the router guide and the bit. Leave a 1/16 on either side. Okay, I've had a customer call me one time. It wasn't related to a door, but he said his hinges were fitting far too tight in the opening. They were just simply too tight. And it turned out, it was quite lucky that they were too tight and not too loose. It turned out that they were simply using a router bit that was too large for the application, ever so slightly too large. And it turned out that when the client bought from us all of the the hinge installation aids, in fact, they came from Sauce, who makes concealed hinges and templates and guides and router bits for that application. They had sent the incorrect diameter, so luckily they sent one that was simply too large, giving them too small of a prep. Actually, it was too small of a diameter. Yeah, forgive me, I was saying that incorrectly. Too small of a diameter bit. And luckily the factory just made a picking error when they were shipping the order. It was discovered. The factory shipped out the same or next day the correct bit. The client rerouted it, and everything was perfect. The point of the matter is that illustrates that you've got to have the right combination of OD and bit diameter when doing this. Because, again, the router template is literally made, the major template is literally made for this. So they also do sell their own router bits, and I would suggest that you consider some of the wisdom that's on this page. Major recommends routers that have D-shaped handles, even though they've got B handle. Definitely a D-shaped handle. Yeah. So that should say D, and the, what router bit you use is what router bit you use. Having the small knobs on the end of a router, that is definitely more appropriate for smaller work, even though I personally find that I prefer it because I can use the balance of my hand, not consumed over the D handle with doing other stuff, like holding it down to the template. Just my preference. But when I'm doing larger work, if I'm going to do a round over on an 1 3/4 door with an 1.5 inch radius round over bit, yeah, I'm going to want to make sure I've got my hands on that router, because you've got a 3-inch diameter round over bit. It's a lot of gyroscopic forces happening there. So that's their opinion on that. Okay, that should say D handle. The use of their 1/4 inch bit for aluminum they recommend because of the way that the flutes are designed. It will pull the chips away from your router. Number two, that's number one. Number two, they're single fluted so that chips clear out faster. And when mortising aluminum, number three, they prefer the high-speed steel version over carbide because of the welding that can occur between your base material and your aluminum. Also, because of how brittle the carbide is, they may break. Is the bottom line. Now, I personally have used 2-flute carbide bits on aluminum, and I can tell you they screech an unholy level of decibels. And as a result, the single flute would be my preferred way to go. Okay, so that's the installation instructions when it comes to these guides. Then there's the installation instruction as it pertains to the HIT 45, which is here as well. So let's take a look at that. Now, this is not a video on the HIT 45, but I'm just going to show you that it's here for you to review if you're looking at both options, the plate and the clamp. Setting up your router is definitely appropriate for what we're doing here, and that's been discussed. Okay. Finding the center line using the pinpointer that's here is important so that you know exactly where to put your HIT 45 clamp on the door. Go about routing it. Squaring out the corners. That's all there is to it. Easy stuff. So now let's switch and take a look at the product brochure. And this product brochure will show us the HIT 45 design, the accessories, the guide for the routers, the bits that you would consider using, an entire kit for doing different aluminum storefront material and a variety of these kits, then the loose templates that are going to allow you to attach the other accessories to your HIT 45. So here's a HIT 45 AR1. That's when you're doing the 1x6 and 7/8 prep for the typical 4510, let's say. Faceplate preparations for different Adams Wright locks. And again, the HIT 45 is really mostly intended for aluminum doors. Here's our AR5, our 86 edge. Okay. Other templates. This will literally bolt, as will these, bolt right to the edge right here. Your faceplate template mounts here. More lock face templates. Let's see here now. Arrow, Best, Baldwin. Baldwin has, because of the quantity of functions and trims, more so trims really, and where it's all located, Baldwin has lots of holes. Corbin Russwin, Falcon, Marks, PDQ. These are alignment tools. These are pretty important to have if you're doing this kind of work. Different video. Schlage, Sargent, some Unican, Yale, and then other accessories. They also get into a lot of aluminum jam templates that you would use for electric strikes. Okay. Now, below this video here is a link to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. It's 108 pages worth of HIT hardware installation tools and a variety of security door hardware that locksmiths would implement for their client base. There's a lot of stuff that is completely and thoroughly related to security hardware and the installation of hardware onto commercial doors. Okay, a lot of material here. I won't go through it, but I would suggest that you would, especially if you require some lock installation tools. Here's your HIT 66. That's your HIT 200, I believe that part number is, for making a mortise pocket, okay, etc. Let's wrap up this video on camera. So when it comes to this material from Major, I would suggest that unless you're completely positively sure of what you need, call us. You might say, hey, what do I need? This is what I want to prep for. What do I want to do? And actually, in that product catalog, there is a cross-reference chart that you can get to right in the beginning of the HIT series of material hardware installation tools. So if you're wanting to do Yale or Schlage or Adams Wright, go to that section and it will drive you towards the proper material. But the first time I put together a kit for a client who had aluminum storefront and was putting Schlage L9000 series locks onto wide style aluminum doors, and he ended up purchasing a whole mess of material. And he had about 10 doors to do, but just was quite focused on, I need a hardware installation kit for doing this. I want to be able to drill everything correctly, etc., etc. And the client was able to do that with pretty good success. Okay, so if you're not sure of what you need or how to put it all together, that's where you reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you with that. Any questions on the HIT 45AR5 or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.